How's it going, folks? How's it going? You already know the waves, and for sure, you already know the vibes. It is King Zachariah White back at it like it's nothing with this drip and the sauce, because I am the boss. I am back. We are here. Happy good day to every single one of you ladies and gentlemen out there in the world. All right. I'll say we hope that you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday on this particular go around. And on behalf of all of our kingdoms, our empires of T.I.S, and also just all of our kingdoms, empires, businesses, communities, entities in general, we're praying a whole lot of good luck, good fortune, blessings, and positivity to and for everybody. All right. Of course, we're praying it to and for God and all the heavenly kingdom, because he truly is good. They truly are good. They bless us with so much, whether it be love, whether it be faith, whether it be patience, perseverance, strength, whatever. They bless us with so much, and without them, we just have so much to thank. It'd be a crime for us not to thank them. Right. Of course, we're praying for, ourselves, trying to be the best we can and trying to help out everybody. But we also pray the same for every single one of y'all out there as well. Y'all make sure that y'all keep the progress going and y'all keep it flowing, baby. But all that stuff off to the side. This particular video marks the first video that we're making. All right. Yeah, I'll say hosted by, put on by, presented by, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. It's presented by the Governmental Gray Empire. This is the Gray Empire with G-R-A-Y as opposed to G-R-E-Y, right? And in this particular video, what we're going to do, we're going to go over the constitution of the internal sphere. All right, this is something that has already been drafted, years ago, right? Dating all the way back to 2021. And of course, I've had it written out. I've had it typed out. I'm actually looking at it. I'm actually got it pulled up right here. It's all, the camera focused in. All right. But what's it called? Definitely, I've got it right here. Had it written out, had it typed out, signed it and everything. But especially with, this particular year, 2025, being like the kingdoms such as the Gold Empire, the Black Empire, the Beige, the Pink, the Red, the Orange, they've always been a thing. Even before I gave an official name to them, they've been a thing. It's just that, it wasn't up until 2021 due to, much love and big shout outs to God for the whole process, but it wasn't up until 2021 that we were able to put names, put classifications, put an organization or a system of organization to it wasn't until that sort of came to fruition that we've been able to, I guess, to bring this to fruition. And again, just by going through the process, it wasn't. 2025 is each year is always a very important year, right? And each stage is always an important stage, but 2025 happens to be that stage where all of the empires are truly being brought forth to, it truly being put on, I won't even say put on Front Street. I guess that's another way to say it, but really they're stepping out into the light. Right, and all of the goodness and all of the greatness that they've been putting on, that they're capable of, it's going to be one of those things where everybody all the way around is going to be able to take it in, to enjoy, witness, all that other sort of jazz, right? But I'm doing a whole lot of talking, right? The Constitution, we have it at hand here. All right, I'll go ahead and read it off. It may be a little, it definitely may take a little bit of time, but nonetheless, though, it outlines the nature, it outlines the structure of the internal sphere. Right. So as of September 4th of 2021, the internal sphere, which has and will go by many different aliases, is a legitimate, real, and present creation comprised of the two entities, two coalitions, right? Two, let's just say, subsection of empires and kingdoms, right? One being the color spectrum, and the other being the originals and the outsiders, in which they have their own aliases. The color spectrum T.C.S, or the Roy G. Biv, or the Rainbow. There would be a couple of other different aliases for the color spectrum, and the originals and the outsiders. There's one particular alias, another one, the OandOs, the originals, the outsiders, either or, right? But the internal sphere started out as a mere thought, right? A mere idea, right? Really aiming towards addressing or fulfilling two mantras. The first one being satisfago el interno y satisfago la externa, right? In other words, to satisfy the internal and to satisfy the external. That's one mantra. The second mantra is hacer más, tener más y estar/ser más, right? In other words, to do more, to have more, to be more, right? And our very essence is derived from goodness, greatness, fairness, resourcefulness, equality, balance, and equilibrium, right? Now, the color spectrum, as mentioned before, is a collection of empire entities, each of which is dedicated to specializing in their own area of expertise. Each of these empires has its own set of kingdoms. It has its funny enough, its own subsections when it comes to organization, when it comes to, again, the kingdoms, provinces, districts, all that other sort of jazz, right? Which will be outlined and developed over time. But the color spectrum is broken down into the red empire, the orange empire, the yellow empire, the green empire, the blue empire, the indigo empire, and the violet empire, right? Now, the red empire is focused on devotion. Devotion, worship, getting right with God, right? Getting right with God, getting right with Jesus Christ, getting right with the Holy Spirit, getting right with all of the heavenly kingdom, right? And another way that I classify the red empire is the soul, right? The soul of the internal spirit. That's what the red empire is based on, which is why whenever it is that you going up on YouTube, you see one of the first thing that you see is how there's a number of different videos where we're reading the Bible, or we're reading a religious text, or something of that particular sort, just growing soulfully every single time that we operate within that particular space, right? Now, the orange empire. The orange empire is really, the orange empire is dedicated on timeless, right? Or I guess on being timeless. So on age, right? Age, time is really the thing. The orange empire, another, I guess, a way that I put it, the orange empire is the clock of the internal spirit, right? And the purpose of the orange empire is essentially finding a way to maintain, we talked about the process beforehand, but maintain an essence or connection to each step of the process, to that version of ourselves of each step of the process, right? Being able to still be connected to the child, to the baby, to the child that we were back years ago. Being able to still be connected to, the youthful, the energetic, right, version of ourselves that existed in our teens, our pre-teens and our teen years, right? And also being able to still maintain, like to access, right, that the mature, the maturity of ourselves in our adult years, right? And those are just some examples, but just being able to stay in tune with all different versions of ourselves. That's what the orange empire is all about, and which I'll also say this as well, right? It's funny, because I will, at some point, I will show you guys what the original draft of the Constitution looks like, and then I will also go through and do an updated edition, because with the way the the original Constitution is and what it's grown to become, from 2021 to 2025, it definitely, there's a huge improvement. Like there's more meaning to it. All right, even beyond what I thought was going to be the case back in 2021. Right, but pardon me, let me go ahead and get this back up. Google Drive. Okay. Right. As far as the Yellow Empire, right? The Yellow Empire, the next one, is really, I'll say, is dedicated towards character development, right? Now, there's so many different iterations and versions of ourselves, and I know what I'm doing with the internal spirit is we're bringing all of the different iterations and versions of ourselves to life, right? So, funny enough, going back to something that I outlined within the agenda, right, for the color spectrums this particular week, the Yellow Empire is tasked with, we may not necessarily make a video, but at the very least, we're going to put a set structure, right? We're going to give a definition, we're going to give a visual to what it means, within T.I.S. to be the king, what it means to be the emperor as well, right? But really, and just to throw out some more different names as far as like individuals or characters, within T.I.S. There's the czar, there's the chief, there's the warrior, there's the champion. There's so many different